A 9 to 5 is not crap if you use it as a tool. So if you know that you don't like your 9 to 5, but you want to do something in the creative industry, you need to switch the way you think about your jobs. Hi guys, welcome to my channel and happy new decade. So today I wanted to share a video that's very personal to me, but I hope that it inspires even just one person to take action on their dreams. Have you ever been in a position where you think, oh my god, I really need a change from work, I can't do this much longer, like what can I do? I want a new life, I want to change my industry, I want to change my job, I just need a change. If you've ever had those types of thoughts going through your head, or perhaps you have a passion, you're a very creative person, but you're struggling doing a 9 to 5 because it's been difficult for you to actually explore the creative side while you're doing a very intense corporate job, I hope that this video will help you because it's an inspirational story that I'm still like, did I do this? And make sure you stay tuned to the end because I'm going to share with you a step-by-step process based on what I did that will help you make that change and manage the fear that's at the back of your head that's stopping you from actually going out there and building a life and career of your dreams. So a little bit about me is that my name is Dels. If you don't know me already, my name is much longer than that, but everyone calls me Dels. I've been a banking lawyer for the past about 7 years and it was literally my dream job. So I started out, like my first job was McDonald's, and I can't believe I'm putting this out there on YouTube, but that's what it was. I really started from the bottom. No bank of mom and dad or everything, and this is so relevant because when you dream throughout your life of actually hitting a certain financial goal and getting there, especially through a 9 to 5, it's so hard for you to make a change and leave that and maybe stay true to yourself because you're like, I'm doing my dream job. What the hell? So even though I'd always been very creative, when I was younger, I loved to write, I loved to take pictures and do things like that. I never really explored it because coming from an African household, you were either a lawyer, a doctor, or a banker, and anything else was just like you were a failure. And I know that that's quite extreme, and of course it is, but typically that's the theme. It's very difficult to tell your African parents that you want to do something else. So that just gives you the background. So I've been hustling. I worked in retail for pretty much most of my teens. I went to university, I studied law, then I did business school. So everything was geared towards this dream of me doing a 9 to 5 and getting a job with a high paying company that literally would transform my life and pay me a pension and everything like that. And when I got there, I actually did enjoy it. I loved the partners that I worked for. I'm so thankful for the first law firm that I worked at because even though it was the biggest one in the UK with very intense long hours, I had mentors that were people that I looked up to and kind of would be honest with me and be like, yes, this is a very difficult job, but you know, you should always keep your hat on to think, what am I going to get out of this job that can help me in the future? I don't know if that kind of resonates with any of you watching this video, but that really helped me shape my thinking. And I remember one of the first books I read when I was just starting out as a junior lawyer is a non-legal book. It's a business book by Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And I kind of recognized my thought processes in the Poor Dad. So that way of thinking is like, get a great job with a great company and work really hard and build your pension and things like that. But I realized that the Rich Dad was more akin to my true version. I really wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to be able to manage my own time. I wanted to create something and not just be told what to do. I think it was easy for me to quieten these thoughts because when I moved to Dubai, again, not only was I at a company that I enjoyed working at most of the time, when the hours were tough, but I was also living in a country where every weekend felt like a holiday. Coming from London, where I was stuck in that daily grind, like Dubai was fantastic. Sunny weather, I doubled my income, it was crazy. So I was able to kind of reduce that noise and just think, man, no, I'm going at this, I'm going to make sure I get to the top of this legal industry or whatever. But the funny thing happened. The more I stayed in law and the more senior I got, I really started to develop closer relationships with my clients, and a lot of them were actually running super successful companies that they built from the ground up, but they had legal backgrounds. And it's kind of funny how the universe works because I also got to a point where I'd listen to a podcast and, for example, Mel Robbins, the lady who did the 5-second rule, one of the most listened to TED Talks, is a former lawyer, and there were just so many people that kept coming up, and I was like, Dels, you can do this. I just felt like I really need to take some time out to do something that's for me, explore this side of me that's not quieting down, that just keeps talking. So that's what I did. I was super afraid to actually just make the leap. And this is something that I hope you get out of this video, is that you go on YouTube and everyone was just talking about, just do it, just quit your 9 to 5. Your 9 to 5 is crap. A 9 to 5 is not crap if you use it as a tool. So if you know that you don't like your 9 to 5, but you want to do something in the creative industry, you need to switch the way you think about your job. So rather than you complaining about it, think, what can I get out of it? And this is one of the biggest lessons that I got from Rich Dad Poor Dad, where the guy was talking about his experience working at Xerox, and he took the tools that he used from working in a corporate company to create his own business and really streamline the process and make it a lot more efficient. And that's kind of what I've ended up doing, but I'm going a bit too fast now. It's really a matter of taking ownership of these thoughts that are in your head and thinking, what can I do to be true to myself? So now we've gotten to the part of my story where I'm going to give you the stats that I did to kind of get to a point where I was brave enough to just be like, I'm leaving this. I'm not going to look for another job. I'm not going to do anything. I'm out. December of 2018, I decided to take a trip to Sri Lanka. It'd been a very busy period at work, and I just realized that this is super tough. If you're working 18 to 20 hours a day, you need to be super passionate about what you're doing, because otherwise it's very hard to stay motivated. And if you know me, I'm a super hard worker. Like, I get in the flow and I bang things out. So I just thought, like, Dels, you either stop complaining about this, you either make a change, or you shut up. So how do you do this? I decided I needed to be real with myself. I went on a holiday to Sri Lanka. It was kind of like a solo trip. The first part was solo. My friend joined me later. And while I was in my solo phase, I completed my life plan. And what I did was really think out for the next 5 years of my life, what I wanted that to be, what I wanted to achieve in terms of like my family, my career, where I wanted to be. Then I compared that to my current situation and the people who were ahead of me. I was like, okay, do you want their lives? And with all due respect, I kind of didn't. I really wanted to create life on my own terms. And this was something that I was able to face head on, because then I was like, okay, this is the life that you say you want in 5 years. If you work backwards, are you in that position? And once I realized that my answer was no, I knew that in the first quarter of 2019, I was going to be out. And oh gosh, I can't believe I'm saying this, because like, my heart is still racing when I think about it, because it's something that I thought about doing for years, but I just was never there. I almost was never real with myself. I wonder if any of you watching this video have ever felt like that, where you know you need to do something, but you kind of just ignore it and you just continue doing what you're doing until the pain becomes too much. Like, if you've ever felt like that, comment below so I know that I am not alone. So the second thing I did on that trip was to really define not just my broader life goals, but my specific career goals, like what I wanted to be doing in those 5 years for work and to make money. And I realized, okay, well, my ideal situation would be to have my own company and be able to travel, which is a big passion of mine, get deeper into technology, because coding was also something I was super interested in, and I see that that's the future of not just the world, but for specifically law. You know, I did finance, and fintech is big in our industry, but there's not that many lawyers who can talk about it or really understand it. And I thought, okay, even if I'm taking a break from law to do my own thing, what can I do to make myself also more employable and something that I'm interested in as well? So you're kind of killing two birds with one stone. So I was able to really define these goals and give myself something to look forward to, and also a practical thing to do while I was out, because I was not going to quit my job and just say I'm moving to Bali to lay on the beach. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. That is not me. My personality is I need to be doing something. I need to be being productive. And yes, I love to travel and stuff like that, but I want to travel, live my best life, and also give value in some way, shape, or form. And something that I would recommend if you're doing this exercise for yourself is to write it down instead of typing it on a computer. You do both to cement the process, but I love mind mapping, and actually writing it down with your hands feels like you're creating. It's like a psychological tip, but it works for me. So the third thing I did was to really visualize my dream. I started this in Sri Lanka, where it was easy for me to be like zen, listening to nature and being like, okay, Dels, you've got this, you can do it. But then I got back to work and I was busy. I had clients, I had deliverables, I had things that I needed to do. And then you realize, you go from one level of zen to another, which has been your cycle for so long, where you're just going with the flow and you're mechanical about things and it's no longer about you but your job. One of my core values in life is freedom. I don't want to live to work. I want to work to live. And I realized that, okay, I'm back in this routine and I'm bricking it. Dels, you're meant to hand in your notice today, and I just wouldn't do it. But what helped me was to then take a step back and really make time for myself. And I was like, okay, I've just done another 18-hour day, but what would the rest of my year look like if I took this decision that's been weighing on my mind? Like if I went in tomorrow and I handed in my notice, what would my year look like? So having this out and visualizing it and thinking, oh my God, I will have an incredible year. I will learn to code and stuff. It gave me such a good feeling that after filling out this form that I'm gonna put on screen so you can see, and I also included the dates so you can really know that this was something that I was doing around this time last year. Once I filled out that planner, I was like, oh my God, my year is going to be epic. Absolutely epic. So I was fired up, and that really helps you feel motivated to take the next step, which is the most crucial. So what I did was that I applied for this bootcamp, and I did it because I knew that there was no way I was going to get 3 months off work to go to this coding bootcamp. I didn't give myself any options. I was just like, you better apply for this, and it's going to cost you £6,000. So you better make sure that you leave, because otherwise you are going to lose out on £6,000. And the next thing is just absolutely incredible. And I just hope that this really encourages you to know that you just need to take the first step. And it's always like, sometimes, that the road just gets lit up and it's like being on an escalator and things are just moving and you're just going and things are going in the flow because you no longer have that resistance. Literally 2 weeks after I came back, I was out of work. I moved to Colombia to prepare for my coding school, and I did Colombia intentionally. First of all, I wanted to get out of my comfort zone, and two, I love to travel. Remember I told you guys that is my biggest thing. Like right now, one of the things that I do is helping people who want to find great jobs abroad to actually achieve that. So I wanted to go somewhere that I could learn technology, but would also allow me to indulge my passions for like salsa, dancing, and things like that. And Colombia was perfect. What happened next was absolutely incredible and still blows my mind. Less than 6 months after I decided to leave my company, not look for another job, and basically just really pursue what it is that I wanted, I ended up in London with my own product, demonstrating this product to a crowd of investors, colleagues, and developers at Google campus. I had my own product, guys. How crazy is that? And I didn't have to pay for this either. I was able to come up with this idea while I was in my coding bootcamp and pitch this product, and out of 32, my product was one of the ones that was selected for development. And it's just crazy how much opportunities and good stuff has happened since then. And in the process of sharing my journey, like so many people started contacting me, including my ex-clients, which was wild. My banking clients saying, you've really inspired me. I knew I liked you when we worked together. I love that you had these things hidden in your back pocket. Can you help me? I want to make a career transition into this thing, or I want to move abroad. And I okay, I was like, cool, I'll help you. I've been doing this for years without actually really creating a process for it. But now people are asking me to coach them on how to move abroad and stuff like that. So I went to New York and I had a workshop about this, went to LA, met some amazing people that have really given me the fuel and direction to take my business, this app that I'm developing, my coaching business, to the next level. And honestly, if you told me this time last year that I would have had my own app company, I would have my own coaching business, I would be a successful entrepreneur. I consider myself a success. I'm still aiming to hit my multiple six-figure salary, but so far we're getting there, and that is a hard target for the end of this year. I know that I will come and do a video and tell you guys that we smashed it. I'm not gonna give you a number because that number is a secret. Make sure you subscribe so that you know when I hit that number, but it's like a target that I know that is so realistic, and I can't wait to make it happen. I hope that you've gotten some inspiration through this video. I know it's so difficult, guys. I really, really do. Like sometimes you have commitments, you have all of these things, and it's so difficult to actually take the plunge to leave your job and look, there's a lot more at stake for you doing something that doesn't make you happy or doesn't offer you the career progression or opportunities that you want and need than just staying put. So I really encourage you to think it through. Make sure that you go to my website and that you download this 9-to-5 exit plan. That's what I've called it, to really help you out and really figure out the process. So my next video is also going to talk about what to do before you quit your job, like the most important thing you need to consider, because quitting is not for everyone. And I don't want you to be caught up by the hype of, you know, entrepreneur life and all of that stuff, because it's not easy. Remember I mentioned to you I used to work 18-hour days in the law firm. I do the same thing now, so there's not much difference. So I just hope that this video has inspired and encouraged you. If it has, please leave a comment in the description so that I can do more of this. I'm all over the place right now because it's just such a weird but personal story that I hope is uplifting, because when I think about how much I've achieved in just 1 year, I'm like, you did that. So when I have like crap moments, like I remind myself that, look how far you've come in such a short time. Just think of what the future holds. So see you in the next video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.